A family separated for years over false positive drug tests.
Ultimately, I had to just keep proving my innocence.
Georgians exposed to cancer-causing chemicals.
I wish it had been discovered sooner.
And the post office threatens to stop delivering mail to a Metro Atlanta home after a sinkhole swallows the mailbox.
Just wanted to update everyone on the sinkhole in front of my home.
When systems fail, people pay the price. We trace the damage, expose the truth, and fight to fix it. This is Uncovered by Atlanta News First Investigates.
A child reunited with her family after she was separated from them for more than a year because of her father's alleged drug use.
Independent tests now prove the father was sober.
Hey, look. Hey.
William Brock and his daughter, Olivia, reunited. For 17 months, the toddler was in foster care. Olivia was 2.5 when she first entered the custody of Georgia Division of Family Children Services, DFACS. She's now exiting on her 4th birthday.
Blow 'em out,
The best birthday ever.
Yeah, she got them all.
Although her series of gifts include toys and a visit to this park,
Daddy.
Hey.
perhaps her favorite is the presence of her father. Olivia not wanting to let Dad go, not even for this interview.
Why you shaved your beard?
This moment made possible, Dad says, partly because of Atlanta News First investigations.
Well, if I never would have saw your story, I never would have known what was going on, and I probably might have gave up. You ready?
Because he says as he remained sober, he kept failing drug screens. He did not understand why until he came across our year-long investigation. It exposed some state-contracted labs have a trail of alleged false positive drug screens. That was 2024, and after those stories, we met William, who shared his own.
And it's unbelievable.
The dad adamant he has not used drugs since July 2023. It all goes back to William's criminal history. He lost custody of Olivia in Floyd County after being on drugs, going to prison on drug charges. The 59-year-old admits his past addiction, but says the state conviction turned his life around. The sentence he completed included living in a facility for substance abuse and treatment. To get his daughter back, William agreed to DFACS mandated drug screens. His hair follicle results repeatedly showed positive for methamphetamine. But our investigations found some labs contracted to do drug screens for DFACS do not perform a specialized test that would distinguish between legal meth used in legal medicine versus illicit meth like the street drug. Plus, as we reported, federal guidance outlines the many disadvantages of hair testing include environmental contamination.
Would you like to see DFACS stop using hair follicle tests?
Absolutely. They need to come up with something different. Because there's a lot of problems with those.
After learning of the problems, for months, anytime William had to do a DFACS drug screen, that same day he'd get a separate independent drug test at Atrium Health, paying out of pocket for it.
Ultimately, I had to just keep proving my innocence.
This separate independent test routinely showing he was negative for drugs. Armed with these independent results, a DFACS judge ultimately ruled in William's favor, closing the dad's case.
I can beat this thing. I never let them get to me, and it's just hard. This right here makes it all worthwhile. This day right here, the days to come. I never let them get to me. They tried, but I just kept doing what I had to do. Life's a whole lot better sober, and we're just going forward from this day.
DFACS does not comment on specific cases, citing privacy laws, but the agency did previously confirm they are in the beginning stages of a possible audit to get to the bottom of alleged false positives.
Sierra, this is really about recovery, not just recovery from past drug use, but recovering your own family. It must have been very emotional to be there at that moment.
It was so emotional. And this is one of those first cases where we were able to see the fruits of our labor, the fruits of our reporting. William is so honest about his past. He admits that he struggled with addiction. He even went to prison for it. So we understand that's why he was separated from his child in the first place. But he was really adamant, hey, I'm doing the work. And if I'm doing the work, the court should recognize that and allow me to have my daughter back in my custody. So it was really emotional for them, but also emotional for us to be at the park that day. It was a wonderful, positive end to a story.
Your whole series, Stolen Sobriety, involves multiple cases where people had past drug use that they even admitted. And that's what makes it so much more difficult. Imagine overcoming addiction and then essentially getting blamed for continuing to use drugs and then not getting to see your children because of it.
That's the tricky part here. Parents say, if I wasn't sober before, going through this whole trauma with the state could cause me to relapse. So it is frustrating for these families. But as we started doing our digging, it was a mom who said to me, this is so unfair. They're stealing my sobriety. And from then on, I was like, this has to be the title of this series because these are people that are really committed to the work, but they're treated as if they're not.
And you're not just getting results on an individual basis, you're actually changing the system.
This is a big deal. This is an ongoing series, so we want to continue to do the work until we see some kind of systemic change. At the heart of this, the allegation is that this is an unreliable drug screening system, that there should be initial testing, but confirmation testing and specialized testing. So we've reached out to the state on multiple occasions. They don't talk about pending cases, but they said they were willing to do an audit. We've reached out and done follow-ups. They said they're working on starting an audit. So far, we don't have any evidence that that audit has started, but we know they've sent out internal memos to all their drug screen providers, basically saying you have to follow federal guidance or you risk administrative action against you.
An exposure study uncovers the health impact of contaminated drinking water in North Georgia. Medical experts share what you can do next.
North Georgia residents exposed to cancer-causing chemicals. Emory University tested nearly 200 residents' blood in direct response to Atlanta News First investigation by our own Andy Parati.
Dear Alvin Jackson, thank you for participating in the Emory University North Georgia PFAS study.
It's a letter of gratitude from Emory University, but Alvin Jackson wishes it was addressed to someone else.
If you're concerned about your results, please contact your healthcare provider because, it scares me to death.
It's blood test results, part of a chemical exposure study Alvin took part in this past February, testing 177 residents for PFAS who live in Rome and Calhoun, Georgia, a toxin linked to numerous illnesses, including cancer. Alvin's results among the highest of all the participants. 2 nanograms per milliliter and below are considered safe. Alvin's blood, 141. How does it make you feel that you have these chemicals in your blood right now?
It makes me feel mighty bad. I wish it had been discovered sooner. Does it make my life shorter? Does it make me vulnerable to disease?
Alvin isn't the only one with elevated levels. Emory's study released this month revealed nearly a quarter of all participants with PFAS levels so high, the National Academies of Scientists suggest getting additional medical evaluations, testing for cancer, hypertension, and thyroid disease. 76% of the participants with levels that could harm sensitive groups like children and pregnant women.
I mean, they know that they have a chemical in their body they can't get rid of, and that's problematic.
Dr. Dana Barr and Melanie Pearson are the Emory scientists who led this study. If you were a city leader or a state leader looking at these results in these 2 communities, would you be concerned?
I would look for ways to try and reduce the exposure in these communities, definitely.
I'm ready.
Sarah Malone donated her blood for the study too. The Rome resident is a breast cancer survivor. Her PFAS levels also among the highest of the participants. Are you now wondering whether PFAS had something to do with your cancer?
Most definitely so. Most definitely so. But this has really hit home. and we really need to get on top of this.
While Emory's study did not focus on how residents were exposed, multiple pending lawsuits place blame on carpet manufacturers for treating their products with PFAS for decades and then discharging it into rivers cities use for drinking water. The companies have denied those claims.
And what we found is that when you drank tap water, you tended to have higher exposure than if you drank bottled water or water that was filtered in the refrigerator.
Emory's study was in direct response to an Atlanta News First investigation nearly 2 years ago that found elevated levels of PFAS in residents' blood, including Alvin. It was the first known attempt to measure the impact on people since regulators discovered the toxin in North Georgia nearly 10 years ago. Dr. Barr spoke to the participants after publishing the results.
Meeting them and hearing their concerns in that room.
Doesn't this make you mad?
Well, yeah, it does.
Do you think that was the thing that compelled you to take action?
Yeah, I think when you understand that there are real people that are having to live with the consequences of industrial pollution, yeah, it really makes you angry like it made participants angry.
I mean, nobody ever thought about it until you did those tests. And that sort of opened up the door to finding out how many people are actually infected with these PFAS.
Emory's study did not look into health outcomes like whether PFAS exposure has led to an increase in disease. Those are the kinds of studies that will cost more money. We reached out to the Georgia Department of Health, but it declined to comment because the results are preliminary and have yet to be peer-reviewed.
All we wanted to do is simply answer one question is, how did this impact residents? How did essentially poisoning their water impact them? And we finally have answers.
Yeah, and you make that important distinguishing statement that the study doesn't necessarily address like how the contamination happened, but it is looking at those elevated levels. Those levels are alarming to many of these residents. So now they've got this information, but what do they do with the information next?
Yeah, so each individual participant in the study received their own test results. And depending on what level you received, there's some recommendations on the type of additional testing that you may want to keep up with, whether that be specific to types of cancer or thyroid disease or high blood pressure. Depending on your level, it could really determine down the road potential consequences. So there aren't really, there's not a pill that you can take and immediately have PFAS removed from your blood. But what you can do is monitor it. And depending on your levels, there are ways to do it.
And this is a really big deal. This is something you've been working on for years, plural. And we definitely want to give credit to those scientists that led this research. But part of this was possible because of your multi-year investigation on this, right?
Yeah, but really a lot of credit goes to Emory University, especially Dr. Dana Barr. And I talked to her after we did the interview. I really do think that if she had not gone to that meeting to answer questions from residents that received those preliminary results that we provided them, and seeing the frustration in their eyes and in some instances, they looked like they were scared. I really don't know if she would have been able to do what she did. I don't know if she had taken the action that she did. And that's why I'm so grateful for her. She was actually, pull behind the curtain, she was actually on her way to visit family in Nashville. And when I asked her, she was like, you know what, I'll stop by on my way to Nashville to visit family. And I don't know if she wouldn't have stopped by, if she would have actually taken the action that she did, but I'm so grateful they did.
Yeah, I'm grateful too. This is some of my favorite reporting by you. Wonderful work. And we know you'll stay on top of this series.
Got it.
Here's what you can do if you have concerns about elevated levels of PFAS in your blood. First, schedule an appointment with your doctor to inform them about your results. Also, reduce your exposure, like personal care products, makeup, pesticides, and drink bottled water. Lastly, reach out to city and state leaders to advocate for change, like increased regulation and additional funding for more studies.
A sinkhole indicator putting mail delivery at risk. Our Atlanta News First investigation got answers and results.
A sinkhole nearly swallowed a Decatur man's mailbox, and the post office threatened to cut off delivery. After dozens of emails and a state transportation meeting didn't fix it, one email to Atlanta News First consumer investigator, Better Call Harry, did.
Good afternoon. I hope everyone's doing well. I just wanted to update everyone on the sinkhole in front of my home.
This is a story about passing the buck.
I'm sending you pictures so that you can see that the problem may soon become worse.
More than a year ago, a 6-foot deep sinkhole swallowed Dan DeWaskin's mailbox. This one is temporary, but nothing keeps it in place. Because Ponce de Leon is a state route, Dan sent pictures to Georgia's DOT. They added caution tape, and yeah, that's good.
To be quite honest, one of my initial concerns was really safety.
And so the emails began.
I hope this email finds you well. We've spoken about the sinkhole next to my sidewalk.
Dan's written dozens of emails, and he's always polite. He's called, and he's even talked to a state official in person.
If you've heard the phrase kill him with kindness, I tried to kill him with patience. I just thought, okay, look, this at some point it's gonna get fixed.
No, it's not. Debris from the rain filled some of the hole, but Dan says it goes under the sidewalk and maybe under Ponce. Another issue is responsibility. Yes, it's a state route, but the right-of-way belongs to DeKalb County, or does it?
And those emails went back and forth with finger pointing, and so I just included everyone.
His temporary solution is not going well.
This is also the second mailbox. It was,
He made a mobile mailbox. It's duct tape and weighted.
Much like you find at a retail store.
But the post office issued a notice and threatened to suspend delivery because it's not installed properly.
It was attached originally with just screws, but it gets hit.
Dan's in a tough spot, and he's a lawyer.
Why are you calling us?
Because this isn't,
Let's take a look at why this happened. See how the granite curb is falling in? Every time it rains, the water channels up against his driveway and underneath the sidewalk.
One of the things that has gotten more awkward was my teenage son asking in January why we didn't just put sand or fill dirt in. I explained that if it was the wrong thing to do, we'd be fully responsible.
Now he sounds like a lawyer, but a lawsuit doesn't deliver the mail. That's where we come in. This time, GDOT responded in person. Our goal is always excellent customer service and a timely response. In this case, we fell short of those goals. A crew poured a truckload of concrete, and that was just under the sidewalk. They'll come back later to fix the curb. We hope.
I'll tell you this, had I filed paperwork, had I done something, had I taken legal action, it would not have happened this fast. I can't be more grateful. You guys got it done.
Harry, I found myself giggling during this story so much, particularly the way you started off. You're like, Dan is a lawyer, yet he needed the Better Call Harry to get involved.
You know, it happens not a lot, but I have received over the years calls from attorneys.
Oh, shoot, you're on horn. Okay.
Well, no, because they have to file paperwork, they have to file motions, and they have to get anything done. It's like, well, I'm going to write a legal letter. I just thought it was crazy when we got the email, and I'm like, he's an attorney. And he can't, and he wants his mail, and he has a right to receive his mail by law. I mean,
yeah.
You know,
and
so.
That really speaks to your ability to write, because you made sure you worked that into the script. But to that point, even though he's an attorney, sometimes we might think, oh, file a lawsuit. We hear people so often say, let's take the legal route. But really, the immediate solution was to make sure he continued to get his mail. And filing a lawsuit, that's not going to solve that problem immediately.
No, I mean, people were just knocking over the mailbox. I mean, you could see the way that it's sitting for any of you watching who know Ponce de Leon Avenue heading out towards Decatur. All of those homes that kind of sit back, those beautiful homes that sit back from the street, but the mailboxes have to be on Ponce, and they can't be facing out because the cars will, will knock them over. So they all kind of have to face sideways, so that the truck can get to it. But this one, in the particular place that it was just a no-win, because the water runoff was creating, I knew it was a big sinkhole that was going under the street.
So many lessons here, but the greatest lesson of all, better call Harry.
Well, maybe.
Give yourself some credit,
No,
Harry.
I still think persistence. I still think the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I said, I be the squeaky wheel. Don't be the squeaky wheel to the point where they put on silencing headphones so that they don't hear you anymore. But yeah, push for your resolution.
Entertaining story, but also an educational one. Thanks so much, Harry.
Yeah, thank you.
You can listen to all of our extended conversations on these stories right now on our podcast, Behind the Investigation. Just search Atlanta News First on your favorite podcast platform. You're watching Uncovered by Atlanta News First Investigates, a weekly hour-long investigative show with new episodes launching every Sunday at 7.